Hey, everybody. This is Roman Polnar, and welcome to this week's Financial Aid Wednesdays. Hope you're all doing well. Hey, just want to make sure you guys can hear me. If someone can just give me a quick either thumbs up in the comments below so that I know that I'm coming across loud and clear, I'd really appreciate that. Oh, and by the way, if you have any questions, you can drop them in the comments below so that I can answer them as we go through this. But right now it's let's say October the 6th, and we're coming up on the first week of the financial aid season. And I'm already hearing a lot of complaints people making about our financial aid system. A lot of families have already started submitting financial aid forms in hopes of getting money to pay for college. Some are still getting ready to fill out those forms, and everybody's beginning to complain about how they're running into these barriers that they feel are keeping them from getting the money that they need. And that's why today we're going to talk about breaking down financial aid barriers so that you can get the money that you need. And there are three biggest complaints that I hear, especially kind of this time of year, but right now in this year in particular. The biggest complaint is that our financial aid system is just too complicated. And people are feeling really, really frustrated as they're going through it because they're having a really hard time kind of making the decisions that they feel confident in and knowing that they're doing the right things. The second biggest complaint I'm getting is that they feel that the financial aid system is just rigged, that it doesn't really help families with real world need, and just making it so that they just can't win. And then the third complaint that I hear is that our financial aid system is actually enabling colleges to continue raising their prices, which is making this whole thing even more unattainable and unaffordable for so many families. And I guess what I want to tell you is that, yes, let's just acknowledge the fact that these frustrations are real and they're justified because, yes, going through the financial aid system can feel like you're constantly jumping over hurdles and scaling walls of some complexity. And yes, it does feel like someone keeps moving the goalpost further and further away every time you get close enough to scoring a shot. But sooner or later, I find that everyone is going to run into some obstacle or some wall that they just can't get over. And as a result, if they stop there, they can't get the money that's just on the other side. And that's just a given. We know that. Unfortunately, I see most people end up giving up before they've collected all of the money that they need to make college affordable. And that's when they sort of end up having to borrow and go into debt because most people just haven't been able to save enough given the prices of colleges. That's a separate conversation. I won't go into it today, but I'm seeing a lot of people who feel guilty, right? They feel guilty that they haven't been able to save enough, that they don't have enough money to send their kids to college. And there's a lot of stress because of that. They want to do whatever they can to help their kids, even at their own expense, but there's just a lot of stress around it financially. And I'm here to tell you today that you don't have to feel guilty about it. It is not your fault. College prices are crazy high, and our financial aid system is complicated. So getting the money can be really, really difficult, but you don't have to suffer. And you don't have to put so much stress on yourself because all of these things are figure outable. I hope that's a word. Is it a word? I hope it is. But all of these things are figure outable. And they're just really four most important things that you need to do to get financial aid. And if you do them correctly, these walls of complexity will crumble before your feet. I can guarantee you that. So in this live cast, I'm going to show you how to do that and how to get the money that you're looking for and how to break these walls of complexity. But if we haven't met yet, and if you don't know who I am and why you should listen to me, let me introduce myself for just a moment. My name is Roman. I've dedicated the last 10 years of my career as a professional financial advisor and planner to help families avoid going into debt by getting real money from the financial aid system and making college affordable. Our families, on average, will get $12,000 to $18,000 of additional financial aid just by following the same four steps that I will share with you in this live cast. Now, some families get less, some get a lot more, into tens of thousands of dollars. But the one thing they all get is financial aid. I suppose they get more than just that because they also get a peace of mind in knowing that they're doing everything correctly and that they're doing everything they can to help their kids and themselves. Now, obviously, I can't guarantee that you're going to get all of the same results because, well, I don't know your situation. I also don't know if you'll actually follow my advice, but I can guarantee that you will get financial aid. And by the way, in case you're wondering, I don't have a fancy story about how like I cracked the financial aid system, as a college kid, or how I succeeded in paying for college with scholarships. Like there are some folks out there that are claiming that they did it all, either themselves or for their kids, and that they hold some, secret key to a financial aid treasure chest. That's not me. I didn't do anything right in college when it came to financial aid. And in fact, I think I was like on the opposite end of a success story because I was really stressed about paying for college. And I probably had some of the same questions that you have. And maybe your kids have some of the same questions. I didn't know where the money was going to come from. See, when I was graduating high school, my parents just bought their first home. It was a big deal. And they put all the money they had into that house. And there was really nothing left. And we didn't have a separate money set aside for college. So there was really nothing. And so this was before Google. I just remember going into my high school counselor's office. I explained my situation, and she handed me a form, this paper form, and it said FAFSA on it. I had no idea what it was. But she told me that if I had filled it out, that I would get a lot of financial aid because of our financial situation. So I filled out the form, I mailed it, but I didn't get a lot of financial aid. Instead, I worked pretty much all the way through college. My parents helped as much as they could. And then I took out student loans to cover the rest. And then when I graduated college in 2001, if you remember what happened then, the dot-com bubble burst, the country was going into a recession. I couldn't find a good job and I couldn't pay off my loans. And they just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger with interest. And they grew, and they grew by a lot. And I remember being really stressed and really frustrated by how much money I owed. And I even remember like looking back and wondering if college was even worth it in the end. It was. And, eventually I paid them off. It took a long time. It took a lot of work, but I was done. And then several years later, eventually I became a financial aid advisor. And that's when I began to realize just how much money I left on the table because I made some really big mistakes from the moment that I walked out of my high school counselor's office back in high school. I also realized that it was all avoidable and that I could have gotten to college at a much, much lower price because I could have gotten a lot of money from the financial aid system had I just done a few things differently. And what really bothers me is that I see families and kids make the same exact mistakes today that I made back then. I see families leaving money on the table every single day, missing the financial aid that they really need, that they actually deserve and qualify for, and instead they go deep in debt, just like I did. Well, nothing about our financial aid system has really changed or hasn't gotten any better. The only thing that changed is that college prices just got a lot higher. So if you're watching this, you might be in a tough spot, and I get that. I know exactly how you feel. And by the way, if any of you have any questions, if you want to drop any comments, or if this is helpful, like hit the like button, let me know. But I'm here. That's the benefit of watching these, whether you're watching it live or in a replay. Put your comments or your questions, and I will get back to you. But knowing what I know now, and that's the most important thing that I want to talk about, I can tell you without a doubt in my mind that all of the mistakes that I made, all the mistakes that I see families make today are easily avoidable. They're fixable. And as long as you do the 4 things that I'm going to share with you in just a moment, and if you don't wait too long, you'll get money. But making mistakes in any one of these 4 things will reduce financial aid. But making mistakes in all 4 will leave you nothing but loans, which is exactly what happened with me. So I'm going to give you these 4 things in just a moment. But right now, what I want to do is call out to every parent with a high school senior or a college student who is applying for financial aid this year, because you need to focus on just one of those things. And that one thing is critical because it's right in front of you today. And that thing is the FAFSA. See, the FAFSA is one of the keys to that door that holds the most financial aid for any family with a financial need. But families have to do it correctly to actually unlock the money that it holds. But yes, the FAFSA is confusing. It's confusing in the way that it asks really, really important questions. So it's easy to make mistakes. And unfortunately, every mistake leads to some amount of lost financial aid. So families who just rush through the FAFSA are guaranteed to leave some money on the table. Now, on the other hand, families that take their time to research and really dig into those important questions can take weeks and sometimes months to complete the FAFSA. And because the financial aid or the best financial aid is given out on a first come, first served basis, waiting too long will also lead to lost financial aid. And that's why we created the FAFSA kit. It's an online course that helps families complete the FAFSA quickly. I mean, most people get it done in 30 minutes with zero mistakes. They're guaranteed to unlock all the money that they qualify for, that they need and deserve. So, by the way, if that's you, if you want some help, go check it out. It's FAFSAkit.com. If somebody wouldn't mind, please putting that in the comment section. It's www.fafsakit.com. I'd really appreciate that. And if that's you and if you think it might help you, go check it out. But keep this in mind. Regardless, whether you take the course or not, once you complete the FAFSA, once it's done, understand that it's up to each college to package your financial aid award. Unfortunately, a lot of colleges are going to lowball their first offer, knowing that most people will just take whatever they're being offered and they'll go away. So if you walk away at that point, you're also guaranteed to leave money on the table, which is why it's so important to negotiate. And in this course, I also teach families how to negotiate with colleges for more money so that you get the full financial aid packet that you need, not just some initial lowball offer. So anyways, if you're applying for financial aid or if you plan on applying later this year, check it out. I guarantee you'll get financial aid and you'll get it faster with less stress, less worry, and a lot less effort. So go to fafsakit.com, check it out. But anyways, let's and I see someone, thank you for putting up that link. I appreciate that. All right, so let's get back to the four things that we were talking about. Because look, at the end of the day, like none of this is really about the FAFSA. It's not even about the financial aid, right? In the grand scheme of things, it's about our kids, right? We want our kids to have a better life. Now, some of you want your kids to have a better education than you had, maybe to have better opportunities, better careers. Some of you may want your kids to follow in your footsteps and go to the same colleges that you went to, but it's just now they're so much more expensive than, when you went. Maybe some of you didn't have a chance to go to college, and your kids might be the first generation in your family to have that opportunity. Whatever the differences are, the thing that we all have in common is that we all want what's best for our kids. But we're all having a hard time paying for college because they just keep raising their prices. And the way that we solve that problem is by doing the four really important things that I mentioned from the beginning. So I'm going to share them with you right now. So, thing number one that you absolutely have to do to get all the money is you got to prepare and position your finances correctly in the most financial aid friendly way. This isn't very hard. It's actually quite simple. It's just that this is a simple thing that people miss. And if you don't do this, when you ultimately share your financial information with the government or with colleges, you're bound to not get as much money because you didn't optimize your finances in the most financial aid friendly way. That's one of the mistakes that I made. Now, step number two is you actually have to look for colleges that have money because they don't all have money and they don't all give money. So if you're eligible for financial aid, that's no guarantee that colleges are actually going to give you the money that you qualify for. You first have to check to make sure that the colleges you're applying to are going to give you all the money that you actually qualify for. And so, by the way, if you already have, let's say, a student who's a high school senior, maybe they've already picked colleges, like go and verify if those colleges will actually give you the money, because that's great. And you'll also have a target so that when you go back to negotiate for more, you'll be able to, get them to raise their offers up to an amount that they should be able to give you. Then step number three, this is really important. you actually have to apply, and you have to apply correctly. I see a lot of families skip this step entirely and they never apply. They don't apply because they think that either they won't get any money because maybe they make too much money, maybe their friends told them that they're not going to apply. It's a waste of time, it's a waste of effort, so they just don't do it. I see families not apply because they think it's just too confusing or it's intimidating, it's complex, and they just kind of give up. And then I also see families not applying because they didn't even know it's there. They just sort of assume that by the time their kids get into college, they're just going to get financial aid. But nothing with our financial aid system is automatic. You have to apply. And then the second thing, you have to apply correctly. I already mentioned that the FAFSA and the CSS profile, those are the two most important financial aid forms. They're confusing in the way that they ask questions. So it's easy to make mistakes, and it's not your fault. It's kind of like what your kids have probably just gone through if they took the SATs. Like the SATs are absolutely no kind of indicator of your kids' intelligence. It's no indicator of how smart they are. It's just a standardized test and how good they are at test taking. That's all that it is. And the FAFSA is kind of like that too. So you got to fill it out correctly. And then step number 4 is you got to actually negotiate with colleges. I already mentioned this. If you want to get all the money that you need and that you qualify for, you have to ask for more money to get more money. Again, nothing is automatic. Most colleges are not going to give you the best financial aid offer from the start. And that's in part because all colleges get some amount of money directly from the government, then that's the first money they give out. Unfortunately, the government allocates a lot of student loans first. And so colleges will just give that out, hoping you'll take it and go away. But a lot of colleges have other money. They have free money that they have as well. Some of it is from the government, some of it is in their own endowment funds. So you have to go back and ask for more. And if you're in a good position that your student was accepted at multiple colleges, they're giving you different awards, there are ways for you to appeal and ask them to raise all of their financial aids to match the best offer. So these are things you can do on your own. You don't have to listen to me or take any of my courses. You can definitely learn for free. We've got a YouTube channel in addition to the Facebook channel where a lot of this information is housed at no cost. Go through it. It's helpful. I hope it is. In fact, I know it is. I hope it's helpful for you. And we also have these great courses. They're incredibly low price. They're designed specifically to help people. And I don't want price to be a barrier for anybody. You can also call me and we'll help you individually, one on one. But whatever the case is, whether you decide to continue learning with us, whether you decide to learn on your own, I just want to remind you that these are the 4 most important things. Like, just position your finances correctly in the financial aid friendly way. It's the easiest thing to do. The information is there. We can help you. You can help yourself. Go, you can find somebody else that you work with, but don't skip this step. I skipped it and I paid for it. It took me years to pay off my student loans, and this would have helped me a lot. Second, look for colleges with money. I can't stress this enough. If you're fortunate enough to still have some time, if your kids are still in high school, there's freshmen, sophomores, even juniors, start looking at colleges from both perspectives, like playing the piano with both hands. Look for colleges that will be a great fit for your student, academically, experientially, what kind of things they want to learn, how they learn, but then also look at colleges from the financial perspective as well, because you need to be able to, at the end of the day, afford it. And it doesn't mean you have to send your kids to low priced schools. I mean, that might be the right solution for you. I don't know. But I can tell you that a lot of families get scared away by the high sticker price of colleges, and then they don't even apply because just it's more than they can afford. Well, ironically, those high priced colleges are usually the ones that have the most amount of money to give, and they're the most generous. So if your student is accepted, and if you can position your finances correctly and apply in the right way, you can actually have that expensive school cost you less out of pocket than a less expensive in-state college. So I think I've done some prior videos on this that, you know, in-state colleges can actually end up costing you more than expensive private colleges, but the worst financial deal are out of state, in state colleges. Because if you send your student to a different state and they go to an in state college there as a non resident, Well, you're paying private school tuition at a public college that doesn't have financial aid to give you because they're dependent on the government. So it's really important to find really good fit colleges that are good fit for your student and they're good fit for you financially. And if you find that match, magic happens. All right. So look for colleges with money and then apply correctly. Don't delay. It's October 6th. The financial aid season started 6 days ago. So if you have a high school senior or a student in college right now, and they're going to be applying for financial aid for next school year, start today. Don't delay because the line is forming. There's going to be over 20 million people that are going to apply for financial aid this year. The good news for you is that most of them are going to make the same mistakes that, I made and that maybe some of your friends have made. But you don't have to make the same mistakes and you can get more money. You just have to do it correctly, but you have to apply early. Don't wait until the spring because by then all of the best financial aid would have already been given out or would have been allocated for other families. So start today. And then remember to negotiate. There are 4 different ways to negotiate. There are different financial aid appeals. And I'm pretty sure I've done some videos on this already. You can find them on our channel. If you have any questions, again, drop me a comment and we'll send you a link to those. In this way, well, you can start learning it right away without having to go through, tons of other videos that might not apply to you. Or go check out the course. It's I think it's fafsakit.com. And I hope it's going to all help you because at the end of the day, the reality is the financial aid system is what it is. We're not going to be able to change that. And we can't get colleges to stop, raising their prices. The only thing we can do is make the best decisions that are right in front of us. If you have some time, then definitely plan and prepare. And that's going to help you and just break down these damn walls of complexity because there's no way about it. They're there. So let's just get around them, break through them. And those are the 4 things that I highly, highly recommend you all do. Same 4 things I wish I had done. I didn't, but it's too late for me. It's not too late for you. So I hope this is helpful. Wishing you all a wonderful day and the rest of the week ahead. If you've got questions or comments, again, drop them in the comment section below. We'll get back to you. If you have a personal question, feel free to direct message me. I think you can find me on Facebook. It's Roman Polnar. And just DM me or DM us on the Pillar 6 college planning page. If you have a personal, private question, we'll get back to you. Our goal is to help every family we can. And so with that in mind, I want to wish you all the best. Good luck with your planning. Good luck with financial aid. I hope you find everything that you're looking for and stay well and healthy. Until next time we talk, I'll see you later. Thanks for watching.